All right, good morning. I'm on a little early today. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2026. I did not stream yesterday, Wednesday or Thursday. I had other business. I had to attend to other office. I did make some trades, and I'm going to go over those real quick. I'll review some of the trades that I did take. I've had from percentage, maybe one of my best weeks I ever had, but I didn't trade that much, so it's really not. Let's start with the current trade that I'm in real quick that I saw this morning. So apparently, this morning around 7 a.m., we were kind of flat going back, and then you saw a big rip from 71.51 here around 7 a.m. and it poked its head through all-time highs. 71.88 was the high from last Friday, and we've come close to it a few times, but it poked its head through 71.90. So we went a couple points above. I was looking at that as resistance because a few times you come up to it, it's been resistance. And the other factor is there is really no amazing news that should be driving the markets to all-time highs. Again, I trade what I see, not what I think. I think this thing should be going in the toilet, but it's not. So, and again, you see here it wants to grind its way back up. Now, 8 o'clock, all the banks just came online, so we usually get a little more activity here. So I'm surprised that we're not seeing a whole lot right now. I thought it might pop back up, even though I'm in a short position here. I'm going to be very, very, very cautious with this short position to let you guys know. So I'm on the 1 minute screen right now, and I still think, based on our news, that this thing is going to. I think we're going to retrace. I've got it set for a quick. Where am I set? I'm set for a quick. I don't know, 15 points hit on one contract. So I don't know if we're gonna. Fridays have typically, last Friday, it just ran to the moon, right? But now it looks like it wants to dumpy here for me.
US Defense Secretary says Iran has a chance to make a good deal.
So here's what at 7:20, what really drove. I think that again, my Squawk Box here, which is fantastic financial juice. If you don't have this and you're a trader, I think you're hurting yourself. I don't have to have 15 talking heads going on. I don't have to be signed up for Trump's Truth Social. This guy in this service, they report anything that really impacts the market, and you get it real time with this guy. You're on the right streaming. Anyway, I don't. I'm not.
US Defense Secretary says 34 ships have been turned around from the Strait of Hormuz so far.
I'm not
Many
affiliated with
Iran
them.
will not have nuclear weapons.
And they're just kind of posturing. But based on
That's saying that the US has imposed an ironclad blockade.
okay, ironclad blockade. So that's good news for a short. I think what drove the market up was Iran's foreign minister expected in Islamabad on Friday night. That's 1 p.m. our time, Eastern. I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So that is, I believe, nothing else here. Any good news?
Secretary says a second US aircraft carrier will join the blockade.
So we're sending another aircraft carrier. That's not a sign of wanting to shake hands and kumbaya. All right, so let's go back to my logic and my short position. So anyway, last Friday's high, between last Friday's high, and this is what I mark out levels, guys. And if you're not marking out levels, I think you're really doing yourself disservice because I think you're just flying blind. The the New York high from last Friday, the 17th, was 71.88. We had come up a couple times to 71.83, 71.84. I mean, we got within 4 or 5 points of that thing a few times, and over the entire week, but we hadn't popped it. So this morning we pop it based on just potential news, which is unbelievable. Now I know we've had great earnings as well. So yesterday's low is 70.79. That was at 1:45 p.m. yesterday. And I hit a short because I was not home. I hit a 20-point short. That could have been a huge short. We'll look at that here in just a little bit. Well, since we're kind of moving slowly. But right now, I am currently short based on the 1-minute cross. And I'm in at 71.78, and I got in about 7:40. So I've been in about, I don't know, what is that, 27, 30, 27 some minutes ago is when I got in that trade. I just got my kids off to school. So let's do my bias today. I think Trump, he's the wild card, right? My bias is long with pullback and retrace. We've already popped that all-time high. I think we may come and try to get it again if any good news comes out. So I say that as I'm sitting here in a short position. I'm a short-term trader, guys, and if you're not a scalper, then that's okay. I will take a lot of break evens. If something happens and rips my eyes out on this one, I've got a very tight stop set, so I'm not going to get punished here. I think we're going to have a slight pullback here. Maybe go north. We'll see. I don't see any. I don't hear. All right, let's look at yesterday real quick. Let's go to the 5 minutes. So yesterday, look at this dump. So this is the second time that this level's been hit. The previous Sunday dump went to 7084, I believe, within a few points. So we've hit this twice since last Sunday. So this is acting as very good support. This was, oh, I even have up here where I went short yesterday. So yesterday I went short at 71.77 range. And you see, I did that on this on the 1-minute cross as well. And then I only took 15 points. Oh, no, I took 20 points on this one. I took 20 points off this because I had it set because I wasn't at the desk. I would have stayed in this thing. If I would have stayed, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Let's just say I would have stayed in. I probably would have gotten out on this retrace at least 40 points. If I had courage and just let it run, that could have been a 90 point. I mean, how am I going to catch that wick down? Probably not. But I mean, literally 40.
Europe and Asia have benefited from the US's protection for decades. The time for free riding is over.
40 to 80 points, man. So that was a really nice short. But yeah, I still have it on here for my chart yesterday. I had come back in the mid-morning, 11:30, 10:30, 11. I saw this cross. I got in. I set a stop. I set a target, and I could walk away from the computer, which is nice, and go do the other things I was working on. So anyway, that was a trade that I took yesterday, and that was a winner. And I'm using the 1-minute more, smaller size, 1-minute cross, tight stop, and that's really what I've been doing there. So this was another trade I took yesterday. So I went short and made a few points on this one. I guess I just left these in here. I was in at 71.55 ish, and then I took a quick 10, and that just hit me and got out. I could have stayed in that, but I mean, it looks like in hindsight that was a good one. So let me take that off the screen. I'm glad these are on here so you guys can see some of the trades that I took. This is wanting to come back up on me near my. See, we're on the 5 minute. We want to really see this 5-minute cross. The 1 minute we're crossing over, which is not a good sign for this trade. Do I have it set at break even already? This may take me out. When I say break even, guys, I set my contract 1.5. So I make, after I pay broker fees, I still make like a whopping $3, $4, $5 per contract or something like that. I don't know what's going to happen today, to be honest with you. My gut is telling me, I'll tell you what my gut's telling me. And I trade what I see, but I also have a bias, and that's really a slippery slope. I know people go, "Oh, just trade what you see, trade what you see." But if I'm not aware of news, and if I'm not aware of what's going on geopolitically, if I'm not aware of things that can really drastically move the market with wicked spikes, then I'm not doing myself any service. All you can do is protect. So here's my biggest thing. Let's just say we get some real positive news. We've already tapped that all-time high at 71.89, right? We've gone a couple points, so let's call it 71.90, whatever. So we popped that by a couple points. Is this thing going to run another 100 points today? Based on maybe they're going to talk, maybe they're going to resolve things. The guys haven't even gotten to the negotiating table yet. The market is so starving for good news just on potentially. Let's see what Pete has to say.
Over 100 feet wide. The operation began about 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when the United States Navy destroyer approached her, and the crew and the vessel ignored warnings. And I've described how the destroyer force is operating in the area prior. Upon intercept and coming within visual range, American forces began to issue several clear and unambiguous warnings and inform the vessel and their crew that they were in a violation of the U.S. blockade and directed the ship to turn around. Over a 6-hour period, the vessel and her crew repeatedly ignored U.S. warnings. And then the U.S. Navy destroyer executed a series of pre-planned, carefully calibrated escalation options, including firing 5 warning shots. The vessel and her crew continued to ignore warnings. And after exhausting all other measures, CENTCOM authorized disabling fire against the Tuska. U.S. sailors warned the crew of the Tuska to abandon the engine room, and at approximately 9 a.m. Eastern Time, the destroyer disabled the Tuska's engine by firing 9 inert rounds from the destroyer's Mark 45 5-inch guns precisely into the engine room and engine space on board the Tuska. Not surprisingly, the vessel then reported issues with their engine, went dead in the water, and began to comply with U.S. directions and orders. At 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, CENTCOM ordered United States Marines to seize the ship. Via helicopters, U.S. Marines maneuvered quickly to the disabled ship, boarded her from fast ropes via helicopter infiltration methods, and took custody of the ship. The ship and her crew remain safe in U.S. custody today. Let me now turn to global operations in the Pacific, and I want to highlight that this is a major interagency effort between the United States military, the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Justice. On Monday, April 20th, U.S. Indo-PACOM forces, in support of a Department of Justice request, interdicted the motor tanker Tiffany, which was transporting sanctioned Iranian oil. The Tiffany is a very large crude tanker, VLCC for short, and is also about the size of a U.S. aircraft carrier and capable of transporting approximately 2 million barrels of oil. At approximately 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. military forces and law enforcement forces also went to the ship via rotary wing platforms, fast roped onto her deck, and secured her. After the ship was secured, a U.S. Navy control team embarked aboard the Tiffany and assumed control of the ship at 4 a.m. Eastern Time on April 21st. A Navy control team is comprised of sailors led by a boarding officer that assumes control of the sea ship in order to secure the crew, the cargo, and the vessel. And disposition of that first vessel is still pending. The next interdiction occurred on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, 22 April, when Indo-PACOM conducted yet another interdiction, again at the request of the U.S. Department of Justice. This time, the stateless motor tanker Majestic X, also known as the Ponix, also in the Indian Ocean. This is again a VLCC, or very large crude tanker. At approximately 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, U.S. forces began the interdiction, again using rotary wing assets to get to the ship, got on board, and secured the bridge. Both ships, the Tiffany, the Majestic X, and their crews remain in U.S. custody. And we will continue to conduct similar maritime interdiction actions and activities in the Pacific and Indian Oceans against Iranian ships and vessels of the Dark Fleet. The actions by our service members and our law enforcement partners demonstrate the incredible discipline and dedication and professionalism of our joint force and highlight the global reach of American combat power. The joint force remains on ensuring the Iranian regime cannot harm our interests or those of our allies and partners. And I'll highlight that Iran has repeatedly sought to offensively and proactively expand the conflict by aggression against its neighbors and its attacks on global shipping through the strait. To date, Iran has attacked 5 merchant vessels seized
But the US will
2 of
continue
them
to
that
conduct
were attempting to
interdictions
transit
in
the
the
strait.
Pacific and
And
Indian
these
Oceans
include ships
against
that
Iranian
Iran
vessels.
itself had cleared to proceed.
Oh my goodness, I got
Now, as I always do, I'll
military guys, squawk box, and now my cat in the background, which I'm not a cat person. He's 17 years old. I got 2 of them that I don't want. They're going to live forever.
The totality of their work is the culmination of days, months, and in many cases, years of
Little
work
spike
by
down
our
here.
uniform and civilian
Didn't quite-
intelligence professionals.
Didn't hit my
We have been
target. I'm
able
at
to do the work that we are ordered to do because America's intelligence force, including our core collectors and analysts, have spent decades searching for every loose thread. From the determination of a particular intelligence requirement to that piece of intelligence
US
being
Top General
collected in
Kane
the
says
field
Iran has
by a
attacked 5
military or
merchant vessels and
interagency
seized
case
2 of
officer,
them.
to the rigorous analysis that goes into reporting on that finding. Those team members spend their careers answering the incredibly important questions that we must attempt to answer before, during, and after operations. They live in the enemy's mind. Normally located behind the green door or behind the vault door in dark windowless rooms across the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, are world-class intel members from DIA, our service intelligence components, NSA, NGA, CIA, NRO, and in the case of the operations that I've just described, the Office of Naval Intelligence, all work tirelessly to sift through the mountains of collected information using tools, tactics, techniques, and procedures that I'm not going to discuss today. The sun never sets on these world-class professionals, and their goal is every minute of every day to be on the account. And they know the enemy. They know their combat capability, their weapons, their industrial and economic systems, and they know their leaders' pattern of life, where they go, what they think, and what they do. Thanks to their work, we know Iran, and it is an incredible work that they do. Again, none of our operations that we've conducted during my time in this job could have been done without the service of these intelligence professionals. And the distance from those core collectors and those analysts to those Patriot crews who are defending U.S. forces forward or the fighter pilots is incredibly small. Every single day, as their mottos say, they are committed to excellence in the defense of the nation and to securing the future, and they're doing the work of the nation. Before I close, as I do every time, I want to highlight and remember our fallen. Today, I want to highlight the 63 victims of the terrorist bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, which occurred 43 years ago, just a few days ago, on April 18, 1983. At that time, this was the deadliest attack on a U.S. diplomatic mission, and this was the first attack conducted by Iranian-backed forces on Americans. The suicide bomber detonated a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device out in front of the embassy, killing 63 innocent people, including 32 Lebanese, 14 visitors, and 17 Americans. And among those lost, members of the Joint Force to include 3 Army soldiers and 1 United States Marine. We remember their names: Sergeant First Class Richard Twine, Staff Sergeant Ben Maxwell, Staff Sergeant Mark Salazar, and United States Marine Corporal Vincent McMaw. Today we remember them. We carry on their memory and the memory of all our fallen, and remain grateful for their sacrifice and that of their families, who continue to show us what courage looks like. As we continue to press forward and maintain these operations, the Secretary, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I are deeply humbled by the spirit, tenacity, and commitment and grit of the 2.8 million members of our Joint Force. The Secretary and I thank every member of the Joint Force engaged in this operation, every warrior who remains deployed or who is supporting from here at home. Thank you to, and thank you to your families. Sir, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll take a few questions.
Thank you. In your estimation, have there been increased or decreased instances of Iranian vessels either approaching or trying to breach the blockade the longer it is in effect? And another question about the mine threat. Has the mine threat been neutralized enough to facilitate freer flow in the straits?
Well, to the second question, first of all, we are seeing vessels transiting. There are paths that are open. And part of what the president is threatening is ensuring if there's attempts to recklessly and irresponsibly lay more mines, we're going to deal with that. It's a violation of the ceasefire. So transit is occurring, much more limited than anybody would like to see.
Exit says transit is occurring through Hormuz.
But that's because Iran is doing irresponsible things with small fast boats, crafts, like I said, with weapons on them. These are commercial ships, in some cases cruise ships that came through being threatened.
5 minutes time now at the bottom of the hour.
As far as
Canadian retail
reaching the
sales
blockade,
data for the
it's
month
been
of
a pretty
February.
consistent
Month of month,
number of
forecast
ships
is
at the beginning.
0.9% on the
Then
Brown
you had the
1.1,
interdiction that the chairman
with a range of
described,
1% to
where we took out the
0.5%.
engine room that
Core
disabled
retail
that
sales
ship.
month of month,
I think
forecast
that's a
is
very clear sign
8%,
that this is
and the
not
prior is
a
spotted.
blockade. This is a real full blockade. We'll use up to and including lethal force if necessary. And that stopped, and other ships have taken note of that. So any ships that have attempted, there's been levels of escalation, but none that far, and they've turned around. Absolutely, yes.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman. David Zia, Real America's Voice. To follow up on Alexandra's question, how big are these mine-laying boats? Can they be achieved from fast boats? And I wanted to follow up my last week question about as jet fuel stocks in Europe reportedly are only about 6 weeks left to get most of the jet fuel from the Gulf. Have any European countries reached out to assist in cordoning off the strait and participating in escorts?
I know there's a lot of talks. You saw I would call it a silly conference in Europe last week, where they got together and talking about maybe doing something eventually when things are done. Those are not serious efforts yet. We would welcome that. We would welcome a serious European effort to do something about this strait and this passage, considering it's their energy capabilities that are most at stake. I think it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call for countries around the world. Either you have capabilities or you don't. Otherwise, you're at the behest of a country like Iran, and the only country that can do something about it is the United States military. You want to talk about the mines and the small crafts?
They have a variety of smaller Boston whaler-sized boats. We have forces up there deterring and preventing them from continuing to do that, and we'll continue to do so pursuant to the orders of the Secretary and the President.
But it would reckless mining like that is a violation of the
Unwise
ceasefire
to do that.
and very unwise to do. Absolutely. Jerry.
Thank you. Pope Leo has made some strident comments about the war in Iran, and the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops recently put out a statement suggesting that the war does not fit the requirements of just war theory. And I wondered if the Pentagon had thought about this war against the terrorist regime in Iran in terms of the framework of a just war, and if either one of you could talk about that. And then just my second question would be, the Pentagon recently, this week, gave well-deserved award upgrades to the members of Gulf Company 2-1 Marines who served at HKI and Abbey Gate during the withdrawal and evacuation. I wonder if you, Mr. Secretary, could speak a little bit about that and maybe give us a little bit more in terms of what to expect from this Afghanistan review in terms of further proper recognition and proper accountability.
On the first question, Pope's going to do his thing. That's fine. We know what our mission is. We know what authority we have. We're very clear about that. We follow that. The orders of the president. We've got lawyers all over the place looking at what we're doing and why we're doing it and giving us every authority necessary under the Constitution and under our laws to execute it. So we feel very confident across the spectrum about what we're doing and why we're doing it and the legal justification that we're following in order to do it. You mentioned the Marines at Abbey Gate. And what we've undertaken at this department is a historic Afghanistan review. So we have, over the course of months, reviewed what happened leading up to and including the events at Abbey Gate and the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan. There's never actually been a full accounting in this department of the decisions that were made. There's been sort of papered over congressional attempts, but never a real deep dive where we brought
1 minute remaining.
everybody
The
in
Canadian
to talk
retail
about what
sales
happened,
month
why
over
it
month.
happened. That has happened. That review will come later this summer, and I think you'll find it to be probably the most comprehensive review this department has ever done about a single series of events. And it's because the cascading effect of what Joe Biden did in abandoning that mission the way that he did, and that disastrous withdrawal had ripple effects for our military, for our country, and for the world. That's why reestablishing deterrence is one of the core pillars of what we've been doing at the War Department, because the world looked at that disaster and made choices. Vladimir Putin made choices. Hamas made choices and saw that America wouldn't do anything about it. Houthis shot at ships. They made choices because Joe Biden and his administration saw people hanging to planes as we fled. That deserves a full accounting, which is exactly what we're doing. Sean Parnell, our chief spokesman, one of my senior advisors, has been leading that effort, getting to the bottom of it. And one of the
retail
revelations
sales month over
that those Marines
0.5% to
that Abbey Gate
0.5%,
who showed
lower than
courage, who
forecast
were
to
out there
0.8%.
exposed, knew there was a
Noting prior
threat,
revisions as
nebulous
well,
mission, the
month over
only
month
gate that's
revised
open,
up to
did not
1.2%
receive
from
the kind of
1.1%.
proper recognition they should
Core
have.
retail sales month over month revised
One of
up
the
to
early
1%
results
from
of this
0.8%.
review is to ensure they get the due recognition and award they deserve for the heroism and courage they showed at that gate. Despite the bad decisions of this building and that administration, those Marines acted heroically, and we're going to recognize them for that. Sure, thank you. Yeah, right here.
Thank you. Michael Casey with O'Keefe Media Group. Earlier this week, James O'Keefe published a story on Department of Army Nuclear Chief Andrew Hugg, who revealed top secret national security information to a stranger he met on a dating app. Will you defer Mr. Hugg for termination and prosecution?
Yeah, he won't work here anymore.
And given the revelations,
It's
will
an easy one.
any changes be made to the current anti-espionage training for all Department of War employees now, given this?
Well, we're always on the lookout for CI threats, any internal threats, anyone talking out of school about things they should not. We take leaking very seriously here, informally or formally, which is why some of the reporting done by some of the people in
We
here
have posted
is
the
incredibly
Canadian retail
problematic. They're
sales
willing
February
to
reports
publish
on the
things
feed for
based
those
on
interested.
classified information that would potentially harm those in harm's way. And we think them doing so is incredibly irresponsible and unpatriotic. And it would encourage members of the press to think twice about the lives they're affecting when they publish things in their publications like the New York Times. Yes, right here.
Was the Tuesday carrying used equipment to China?
Sir, I'm sorry, the question's right here.
Thank you. Ryan Morgan with the Epic Times. Earlier this week, on that topic, there was a report, I believe, with the Washington Post that the Pentagon had briefed Congress that it could take up to 6 months to fully sweep the Strait of Hormuz for mines. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit more on the specifics of the timeline, the range of time that it could take, and then just a general idea of how many mines have been placed.
It
We do
says
not
that I'm not speculating on a timeline to clear mines
again,
from the Strait of Hormuz.
another leak from a closed door session, which was supposed to be classified, and apparently, allegedly, that was something that was said about we feel confident in our ability in the correct period of time to clear any mines that we identify. And would encourage other countries to be a part of such an effort as well. But we're tracking that very closely. Mr. Chairman, do you want to add anything to that?
No, sir. I
Okay.
think you covered it.
Right here, new members of our press. Right here.
Jacob Wasserman with TMZ DC.
Except says the US is confident in its ability to clear mines in Hormuz.
Second, you know, I've heard you talk a lot about bombing. Sorry?
We'll see.
Okay. I've heard you talk a lot about bombing people and places. And when you give these orders to carry out this extreme level of violence, what's going through your mind and your body? Do you have like an adrenaline rush? Are you scared? Do you feel like you're on a power trip? Just walk us through and paint us a picture
power
of
trip?
what it feels
What
like
kind of question
mentally
is that?
and physically.
It's a very TMZ question. My only thought process is to ensure that our warfighters have everything they need to be successful, defeat and destroy the enemy.
It's a garbage question.
And that I want them to feel empowered, to have every authority they need within our rules and within our law to bring maximum violence to the enemy. Because war is violent, war requires doing difficult things, but I want our people to feel empowered, so it's our guys that come home and their guys that do not. Sure, I'll give you one chance.
Charlie Cotton from Team ZDC. You changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Would you consider changing the name again to the Department of Peace, since that's what we're all after?
Well, that's the pursuit. It's a great question, actually. You go from defense to war because you want to be proactive about peace through strength. And really, I gave a speech in front of generals about what the ethos of the War Department is all about, because I wanted to go through every echelon of this department. It means something. It's not just words. And when you fight a war the right way, the idea is on the other side, you bring about peace. That is what we'd like to see the most. In fact, I once did a video about the one institution that should win the Nobel Peace Prize every single year is the United States military, because we are the guarantor of the safety and security, of, not just of our country, but of a lot of people in this world. Last question. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. I do appreciate your time. Since February 28, 725 drones and missiles have hit the Kurdistan region as your loyal ally, killing 22 people and injuring 100 others. Even after the ceasefire, Mr. Secretary, 20 more attacks were carried out. My question is, does that ceasefire include Iraq and the Kurdistan region? And really, what is your clear policy toward proxies? Why I am asking this question, by President Masoud Barzani's statement, 5 times targeting his office, even targeting President of Kurdistan region residents in the Hawk City.
We watch it very closely, and that area and those folks, the Kurds, deal with a lot of what the IAMGs or the proxies are capable of doing, and a reminder of the reverberating effect of this Iranian regime. It's not just what it does to its own people, killing 45,000 of its own citizens just recently, but it's also the terror they've brought to the region. And so getting a good deal and making sure they can't wield a nuclear weapon over top of those proxies is why this mission is such an important one. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so the event concluded. They didn't say anything. It's kind of good giving clarification on how you attack that thing. So right now we are, if you're just joining me or if you're just watching this, I got in at 7:40 a.m. on a 1-minute cross. I'm short from 71.78, and the trade is going in my favor. I have moved my TP. I'm going to give this room to breathe. I'm down at, I've taken it to, right now we're up about 10, 11 points in our direction. but I'm taking this down to 71.57-ish range. So we're going to go about 71.58. So we moved our TP1 down to 71.58. And it looks like it's dropping in our favor. I would like, oh yeah, now it's really dropping, guys. So I love it when a plan comes together pre-market. So as is my rules, if any kind of weird shenanigans comes into play, I'm okay taking profit out of this thing. That push back up, I'm not liking to see that MC Hammer candle. Can't touch this, but what time is it right now? We're at 8:38. So we have a completely no risk trade based on my rules. When I'm up 10 points, I normally stop to break even in case any can.
To travel to Islamabad, Muscat, and Moscow, according to Iranian media. So again, Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi to travel to Islamabad on a tour. This is according to Iran's state media.
So yeah, then they'll sprinkle in one good piece of news that hey, they potentially could talk. And when they say they potentially can talk, market goes, there's peace. Everybody buy. I don't know if the algos work off. I'm assuming they do. There's so much AI. The algos will filter any kind of good news, and if they get any kind of good news that they'll because they have a lot of orders to fill. And I don't even want to pretend to understand the algorithm that these large funds have.
Earlier that Iran's foreign minister is expected in Islamabad on Friday night. Though we're now hearing from Iran's state TV again confirming that Iran's foreign minister Araghchi will be traveling to Islamabad. Iran's state TV, however, does not give a timeline for this.
Earlier reports were that he's going to be arriving at 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is like 10 p.m. their time. And again, I don't think this guy's wheels down time is going to impact the market, but then I'm wrong more. But going back to the algorithms, the algos that they're buying is real. Whatever clicks in, and they've got to buy so many orders or sell so many positions or whatever they need to do, and those are real. So there's a couple guys that I've followed or listened to that really understand that stuff, at a whole different level than I do. I don't pretend to know that. So what I'll do, guys, when we're this kind of a volatile market, I'm about base hits, not home runs. If I've got multiple contracts, I'll go for home runs, but I like to start the day with base hits. So what I do is I'll take my stop with the 5 minutes crossing, which is good. The 9 is crossing the 20 on the 5 minute, which is good. Just to let you guys know why I got in. So I got in way back here on the 1 minute cross.
IRNA report that Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi is due to discuss regional developments on his tour.
So if you're not an experienced trader, I do not recommend using the 1 minute cross. Okay. But this is where I got in and I marked it. The 5 minute, possibly a retrace back to the 9 or the 20 could be another re-entry if you're looking. Now I would guard, we're 50 minutes from the New York Open, and who knows what's going to happen on the New York Open. But typically when we've had moves towards all-time highs and this, there's not the wicked 60, 80 point swings on the New York Open. It kind of grinds sideways, deciding what it's going to do.
The Kremlin saying that Russia will be represented at the G20 summit in Miami.
It's good that Russia's going to the G20. That's a positive sign. Man, I'd like to see if they end that too. Oh, sorry guys, I've got my
PolitiFact citing the Kremlin now say that Putin may travel to Miami.
Oh, it would be good if Putin went to the G20. So we've had nothing to invalidate this trade based on our rules. And if you've not gotten my rules, I've got a simple PDF that I'll share with you for free on the 920 EMA Cross. For those of you who don't know, I've been trading this since 2021. And for me, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Simplicity was the key to my becoming a profitable trader. Base hits, simplicity, and put the rules in play and don't deviate from them. And don't Monday morning quarterback yourself. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say I may move my stop to a 10-point win since we're toiling right there. I don't want to see this thing rip back against me. But here's what I would tell you. When I do that, and I've done this in the past, if I have multiple contracts, I would have already taken one at 10. But I was getting my kids ready and I just clicked one contract there. But if I have multiple contracts, how I manage is completely different, and it should be for you as well. I would take one at 10 if I was in multi contracts. I'd set one. I initially set it at 20, and if it looks like it's pausing at 10, I'll snipe one off at 10. I'll put one at 20, and then I move. Everything goes to break even, and that way I have no risk on the table. Okay, so rule number one is capital preservation. That's your rule. And all the professional traders, I'm a professional trader, and I am not like some bajillionaire, but I am a professional trader. We don't calculate how much we make. We calculate how much we risk. And then we manage. That's it. You're into a trade. Once you're in the trade, if you have an edge, and I do have an edge, the 920 gives me an edge, and it would give you an edge too. I have an edge. My edge works if I maintain the rules and I manage my risk. Once I'm in a trade, I manage my risk, and that's that. If you do that, you can beat this game. And that's my strong, simplicity. Like we're set a point inside, so we cannot lose on this trade. So now, just how I manage this thing is how it's gonna. So now we're set at about 20 points. It looks like it wants to move in my favor, but we've got the stop set. So let's go back to buyer's remorse and what a lot of people do, and I don't do. So what I'll do when it's starting to go in my favor here, I have no problem putting a stop at 10-point win. Now what will happen sometimes, it'll come up, hit my 10 points, and then drop another 20 points. And I'm like, oh, I left 30 points on the table. If I have multiple contracts, I can manage differently than I do when you have one contract. So if you're just a brand new trader and you're starting and you're risking $50 on the MES micros for a 10-point move. So if you're wrong, 10 points against you, $50. You can risk 2 micros and just have 5-point stop loss, but you're going to get stopped out more often. So management, risk management and trade management is that's the whole difference in whether I win or I lose. That's it. It's that simple. I can't break it down any simpler. So right now we've got this we're at 71.68. So yeah, I moved this stop to 10-point win, which is, let's call it 71. It's about to pop me for a 10-point win. So And I'm going to explain you my logic, and this is a good one. You're going to be able to hear my order fill. I had a guy said I wasn't really trading, which is on some kind of comment. I guess there's negative Nellies everywhere. So this is going to be a perfect example. So let's look at, it's about to hit my stop loss, which was moved to 10 points. Listen to this. We're at 71.6750, somewhere in that range. Base hits, if you are not a base hitter, you will not survive. Growing your capital, compounding on base hits. Now, do I hit home runs? I absolutely do. I limit the losses. I try not to take any max loss. And I hit base hits. And base hits. 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, 15 points, 20 points. And those are nice base hits. So right now we're set at, if it wants to go back down and go to 20, I can take that. It wants to pop up and hit me at 10 because right now we're between 10 and 20. Either way, I've got a winning trade. So my stop has been moved to 10 points. And how I manage this is how I do it. And a lot of people are going, oh, you're leaving money on the table. If this thing drops down, of course, it could drop down it could drop 100 points to go back down to the New York low. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But Trump could fire something here on Truth Social and send the market back into pandemonium like it did the other day, last Friday, and it went up 1,000,000 points. So this is really one of the more volatile times that I've ever traded. But if you want to learn how to, if you're a new trader or if you're an experienced trader and you want a simple system, this 920 EMA Cross is just, I mean, it's the best thing that I've done, 5 years ago. So it's about to come down and take me out at, I would prefer go and get my 20 points, which it's about to do. All right, as you heard, order filled. So we hit our target. All right, so we are out. So we starting our day with a 20-point win. Not bad. Now, can it go lower? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. So let's mark here. So we did TP1, TP1. What did I say? 71.58 ish. What 71.57 something? Well, let's just call it 71.58. Hit 20 point plus 20 points. Okay, so now we're starting off the day with some fuel in the tank, right? Now, can that go down? Let's watch that. We're going to leave my TP up there so we can watch this for the rest of the trading day. But do I have a problem taking a base hit and doing it? Absolutely not. So that was our trade we took. So we got 20. It was 20 points, almost 21, 20 point, blah, blah, blah. Couple of ticks for 20.75. So now we're going to be patient. Okay. If we get a retrace on this and by the rules, if we come back to the 9 or the 20, we look at the 1 minute, then your cross would have told you again to get back in here. But we're already in way up here, and we've enjoyed, and you see, it really never threatened us this whole, since 7:40. So I was in from 7:40 to 7:51. I was in an hour and 10 minutes in that trade. So you guys, this strategy works. I don't know how, I think I got to become a better YouTuber to be able to share this with people, but man, this is, I'm going to leave this up here because this worked. This works. I'm going to share with you a number today, and I don't like to be that guy, but I'm going to look at my broker over here real quick. on another screen. Let's go this week. Because I've been out of the office, I typically would do about 20 to 25 trades a week. Sometimes a little higher, but pretty much 20 to 25 trades. This week, I've made 14 trades and I have one loser. I have 13 winners. I've never had this high of a percentage. Um, I'm gonna say I can't say I never have. I've had no. I think this with this many trades, 14 trades, and I've only had one loser, and that loser was not a max loser. Uh, anyway, so this is one of the better statistical. This goes to show trading less is better because I really only traded, but I didn't trade. These weren't all premium setups. Yesterday, when I got in, let's look at yesterday real quick. I think I showed you guys yesterday. I got in. I just got in on a small drop here, but I got in a 1 minute. Yeah, so I caught a quick 5 point or 10 point move, 15 point move. Anyway, I'm gonna go back because I reviewed that earlier. But so now we're out of this trade. We've taken 20 points. So we're in at 71.78, 71.58. We hit our target plus 20. So now this is where I've made my bacon is now I got to be patient. It would have been nice to have multi contracts in that. It'd been nice to still be in this. You can't look back. I'm a scalper. I'm an intraday trader. I I have to be patient, and I need the trades to come to me. When I chase, man, usually nothing good happens. And I had to restart my computer and my trading view, and it took me back to an RSI instead of a CCI. Not a big deal, but just from a confluence standpoint, you guys see when this at seven something when this news ripped up. I mean, we were way overbought here. So not that you use this as your only indicator, but two things where I went short, calculated short. I thought that this high, once we pierced through it, would act as resistance. We've been up close to it a few times during the week, which was accurate. And I thought I waited. The bigger thing is I waited for the 1 minute cross. I used the EMA cross as my entry. If that does not happen, I do not take the trade. Period. End of story. That's it. If the blue line, does not cross the thick line, um, then I do not take the trade. These are my rules. I don't break them anymore. Back when I first started this strategy back in 21, I had end of 21, I had some bad habits that I was really I rolled the dice on a few trades, but that happened for me about a 1 week period. I rubbed my nose in it, and I don't do that anymore. So the 1 minute. So now, am I going to go long at 8:55 a.m.? You know, pre-market before 30 minutes before the market opens if this thing crosses. I don't know. I'd have to see a lot of other confluences. The RSI, which I'll change to CCI, not a big deal. I mean, they're pretty similar. I like that the RSI is kind of bottoming out here. If we see some strength on this cross, from a long perspective, based on our rules, and then again, if you want to get my PDF, you can. Um, Price above VWAP, and on my broker, I have a 200. Above the 200 and above VWAP, we're bouncing. If we break through VWAP and this crosses and the RSI is still looking like it's wanting to go up, then we could go long. Is that like my favorite going long at 71.60 when we're 20 points, 28 points from the all-time high with no real good news? No, but I trade what I see. Now we can take, here's the other sexy thing that you can do on using the 1 minute. And I reviewed this with some other traders that have real small accounts. You could, let's just do some quick, let's get this off the screen because we already made our money here. Let's get rid of that guy. Let's just say this cross is at 71.66 here. Okay. It goes 71.66, and let's just say we'll put a target at, just for easy, we'll go 10 points. Now, once this goes across, what's going to invalidate this trade? Now, I'm just doing what ifs here because it looks like it goes somewhere. But literally, if this breaks back below the 20, then your trade's invalid. You could put a stop as tight as 5 points. And if you're wrong, you risk 5. If you're right, you get 10. I mean, there's a lot of, and when I first started, I used 5-point stop losses. And, this can work, and it depends on this. So now if you're risking 1 micro, you're risking $25 per trade. I mean, you can't get more affordable than to become a trader than to risk $25. Some people want to know how long I'm in trades. This is 1 hour and 10 minutes. We're in this one. So we're out at 8:51, I think, or something like that. So I know it's kind of contradictory that I have my biases long with no real news, but I go short because I trade what I see. Now this is where the 1 minute, 5 minutes curling up, 1 minute looks like it wants to go up. I'm gonna mute real quick, and I gotta do a couple things. I gotta make a couple calls, so. I'm not thrilled with this 1 minute. And like I said, right now we're at 9:04. I'm gonna wait for the market open here before I get into any more trades. I believe I still think my bias is long, but I think another rally to this all-time high of 71. What is it? Let's see. I have it at 71. It's not 71 anymore. So this is 71. It clicked it by 2 points. So let's go 71.90. My cat is gonna drive me crazy. So let's go Friday 24th. And I'm gonna leave. I like to leave the old. So you see, we just clipped it by a point or two, and then rejected off it. I got in right on that, right after that, real close to it. So I was in at 71, 78. Yeah, I got it 71, 78. So we were at 71, 70. I was like within 3 points, 3 points of that high. And I was sitting there with my finger on the trigger watching to see how the reaction was. So at 720. Let's go back here. So yeah, so we were crossing here, boom. 740 is when I got in. Is that when I got in? Yeah, 740. You see I got in here on this cross. I got in quick. Now I got in quick as you see here, and then it kind of came up almost to break even, and then it went in my favor and took me out though. So based on you can see it looks like a bigger move when you size it correctly, a 20-point move. So from the high to here, and we're kind of toiling in there. I'm out of the trade right now, but based on this 1 minute, you could be back in here at 71.64-ish. I'm not. I've got money in the bank, and I'll be both more selective and take more risk when I have money in the bank. And it's kind of contradictory. But if I see a strong one at cross that's kind of leaning toward my bias, I still think there's some money to be made on shorts. Even though the bias is long, I haven't heard anything from my financial juice dude here. This is what the market went up with this morning, guys. Iranian foreign minister to travel to Islamabad. Just because the dude's getting his butt on a plane and maybe he's going to talk to the U.S. That's when the markets, started to go up. There it was down here, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing else new. And then we listened to Pete Heggs. The interior, the Minister of War. They talked about how they boarded that tanker. So all is quiet on the front right now. We've taken 20 points, which we're fine with. We'll stay on this 5 minute. If you want a free copy of my trading plan for the 920, you can email me. BigHappyTrading at gmail.com. So by the strategy on the 5 minute, if you still are short biased, then based on this pop through here to the 9, you could have gotten in back in at 71.65 short. I mean, it's not a bad play, but 20 minutes before the open. And again, I'm kind of gun shy because Trump last Friday starts touting all this good news. Oh, the strait is open. They agreed to everything. All we do is win, 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 win. And everything was good. I don't think I shared there, but I had one micro that I kept last Friday short. And it was the drawdown on that thing was I think I was like, I don't know, I was in negative. It was negative, but I was very certain. I held on to that thing. Look at that. Here we go. Yeah, there's a little pumpy pump. I think there'll be some shenanigans here. There's no doubt. So, going back to last Friday. Last Friday I held one short, and when the market opened on Sunday, that thing dumped 60, 70 points or something. And I took a quick because I think I took 45, and then it started to move back up on me. I think I took 45 points out of that on the literally at 6 p.m. on Sunday night Eastern. So that was a nice rip. But I'm not going to say it's gambling, but it's closer to gambling than what I normally do because we were at all-time highs. There was no good news. And then at the end of the day, when it started trickling from Iran, oh, we don't agree with what Trump said, there was all this negative stuff. So that's why I got that short and I just sat on it. And I said, okay, over the weekend, if anything negative happens, Sunday the market will gap down, and it did. And I usually am never in a trade if I think it can gap against me, but I didn't think there's any. It wasn't going to gap up to 9,000. Even if they had shaken hands. So I'll leave my TP on there for a minute just in case anyone wants to see what my thought process was. We can review that trade. But we're sitting 110 points from so the New York low yesterday at 1:45 p.m. was 7079. And for those of you who don't, levels matter, folks. This is the third time that this level's been hit. This was Sunday, the gap down I told you about. This was the Sunday gap down of 7079. So let's look at this on, let's consolidate this into an hourly here so we can see. So you can see down here at the, so you can see this 7079. This was Sunday. That was Friday, Saturday, then boom, 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 gap. So this is Sunday. There you go. This is Sunday's gap down. You can see right there, Sunday. That's the gap down. Then we trickled up near highs again, 71.80. Then we trickled down here, almost tapping it at 71.91. Then we kind of trail back up here. didn't come down that low, 71,106, but I mean within 10, 12 points. And then we smacked it here again. So this level is a real strong support right now. If something negative comes in play, I believe that could get wiped out. Or I mean, I think it could act as support again. I don't want to say it gets wiped out. I don't want to move my all-time high. I don't think it would be wiped out, but I think it could be. We could have a problem, Houston. If, but I think what Trump will do is trickle news out of the White House of very good progress, something like that. I think we're gonna the market is starving for any kind of good news to rally. It wants to rally as sure as I'm sitting here drinking this coffee. So we're 13 minutes from an open. Let's see what oil's doing. Oil, if this is going up, oil should be going down. Yeah, it's a good correlation. So oil, so under 100, 95. So again, the correlation, what's gold doing? I don't trade gold typically. Gold and silver moving similar. Let's see what Grandpa's doing here. Yeah, NQ, Russell, and the ES are all moving similar, which is not shocking. So, keep our bias over here. Let's keep this what's happening and strategy here. So when we're on, we go to the back and forth to the 1 minute. So when I'm trading, I have the 5 and the 1 set up next to each other. I will use the 1 as an entry quite often. And then I use the 5 to manage once I'm in the trade. I'll keep an eye on the 1. If the 1 looks like it's making a violent move and going to rip my face off, I'll take profits or I'll set tighter stops or that kind of stuff. But this is how I trade. Now, I'll obviously I got my brokers up on other screens, and they also have charts. But this thing wants to come. Now, based on the 1 minute, if we would have gotten in here, let's just say it's 71.64. I mean, you'd be up 5-6 points. Not that you're, riding home or retiring, but again, I tell you, if you got small accounts, you could be in at 71.64, and you could have already moved your stop to break even with the no risk trade. And if this thing wants to rip back up to 71.90, 20 points, then you win. If it comes down and pokes your face, you don't lose any money. I've had trades where I go break even, break even. I've had 3 break evens in a row, and then one pops in my favor. But if I wouldn't have made them break evens, I would have had loss, loss, loss. So capital preservation is number one. Yeah, I got on early today. It's not even market open. I've been on for an hour and 23 minutes. So we have no indication yet that there'll be a second round of talks. As of now, only Pakistan and Iran have confirmed a meeting with each other. New York Post reporter. Iran has dropped more mines in Hormuz earlier this week. Yeah, this is where my brain. What is happening? You got good earnings on companies, but what in the world is happening that would say, wow, the environment in the world is fantastic. Let me put all my money in the stock market and let's rip this thing to all-time highs. my brain is not comprehending this. But again, a very wise trader of mine said, trade what you see, not what you think. So I try not to think, but man, what I see in front of me is not 1 and 1 does not make equal 2. Makes no sense. But let's trade what we see. That's it. Pretty simple. I had to take a couple of days off because I was handling some real estate stuff that I needed to be present for. So I wasn't able to be sitting here in front of the screen with you guys, even though I took some trades. Yeah, I still am leaning. Yeah, even though I think it's bullish sentiment based on what's happening, I'm short bias of any of these crosses. I might want to get in short. And I think we take our TP1 that we hit earlier. We already made money on that trade. So just if you're joining me, I'm already. I got 20 points in the bank already this morning. And I'm not going to go long or short or long or anything 6 minutes before the open. Let's just see what happens. I'm not against it. If I'm in a trade that's really good and going my direction, like if I would have multi-contracts on this short that I took this morning, I would have one at break even already at 71.78. Because I'd still be in, plus 10, 13, 14 points. I would have a break even. And if the market rips down, I'd have a 30, 40 point target. If it rips down and whacks that, then great for me. If it comes up and hits me and takes me out at break even, then I took a calculated risk based on my bias and what I'm seeing in front of me. What I'm seeing is no good news. I'm seeing a market that hit all-time highs at 7:30, 7:40 in the morning. I see it rejected off that. So even though it's bullish long term, I'm a short term trader. I'm looking to trade the short term trend, which to me could be bearish. So, but I trade the system. The 9 EMA, the 9 on the 5-minute is below the 20, which is good. We're above VWAP, not good for a short. Not terrible, but that's not the confluence we want to see. I think that we can crack this. The 1-minute crossing the 20, good for a short. But again, we're above VWAP, not great. RSI is kind of toiling in the middle, so this is not really a helpful indicator. Volume is really low pre-market here. Friday volumes will typically be lower. I have volume on my broker chart. But if you want to take a flyer on this one, you would follow the 5 is telling you short. The 1 is telling you short. You should be short. So we got 4 minutes till market opens. I got time to go refill my coffee. All right, so while we're getting coffee, no one got rich, looks like. So the market's about to open here. Let's see what kind of reaction we get. Again, typically when we've had moves towards all-time highs, the open's not been these wild cowboy swings. I could be wrong, but I'm still leaning. I still think I'm short bias, but Trump could truth social me and into all-time highs again. Okay, we're open. I said we used to see like these gigantic spikes, but let's see. All right. So because I've got money in the bank here, I'm gonna wait for this to settle some. I still think short. Um, Based on the 5 minute ticking up here and punching the 20. We roll over and bust through this VWAP here, then it could be game on to take some real. Yeah, this is. Yeah, this is. This was a short. I was right. So I'm not right with my money because I'm not in the trade. But let's wait and see what happens. But all of our indicators are telling you guys this is the 920 works. You play the system, you get in, this thing works. You could have already been out of this thing if you were 10 points. Not. I don't think we're gonna have any super wild swings here because I don't think the White House can let any real news come out. And because it's like 10 p.m. in Iran, now, soon as I say that, there could be something catalyst to drive us a million points in either direction. So we'll see. All right, so we've broken on my broker. We have broken below where we just on the 5 minute we're tapping off the 200. And you can see we're breaking below VWAP here. So this is a good possible short setup. If we get a retrace back here to 71.65, might be a good short continuation. Now, because it's New York, you might want to see some other confirmations or something, but I don't see anything that's propping this market up to tell me, oh man, this is going back and going to blow through all-time highs. I've never heard my squawk box be this quiet. I'm going to refresh it just to make sure. At the open, he didn't have one word to say for 2 minutes, which has never happened. He's streaming. I'll tell you what, on any open, I've never seen it this quiet from the squawk box, dude. All right, so a little bit of back. So today we're already pre-market. We've taken 20 points. We got the 5 on the left, the 1 on the right. I don't chase. I especially don't chase when I have money in the bank. So I told you that I'll be more liable to risk. Um, in hindsight, because I had money in the bank, I probably at the open, since this was both the 1 minute and the 5 minute were telling me short. and I should have just put another trade on in there. I still make mistakes every single trading session, guys, and you will too. When if you get perfect, then I don't you won't be perfect. But I mean, this is now here's the problem: is you don't want to chase. I told you this retrace may be on the 1 minute, but the 5 minute, I need to see something come closer back to the 9. So we get into the 71, 60, 50, 58, 57, something like that. But we're really only 5 minutes into the open, but I don't have any clue of why this thing should be at or near all-time highs. There's no. I sound like a broken record to myself. I think I just need to say it to myself. Why on earth are we trading at all-time highs in this environment? The debt crisis across the nation is huge. We don't know if there's going to be. I think there's a 99% chance that there's going to be no interest rate drop on the next Fed meeting. I think next Wednesday. So there's no relief there. We're still at war with Iran. They're taking ships. We're taking ships. They haven't sat down at the table yet. I'm running through my mind what in the world. Earnings for the companies have been good, and I think that's one thing that's propping this up. Anyone in the planet that does not think this is a winning strategy and a simple winning strategy, I think you are Looney Tunes. I've been trading this since 2021, and I have not found anything that works better for me. Now you do you, I do me. This is a hey, good morning, Rally 45. This strategy I've been doing for 5+ years, and if you want a simple strategy, this is the one I use, and it's effective. It's simple. I got 4 indicators, and that's it. So, will you trade in that rally or no? Oh, I'm glad you found me. What kind of strategy do you? I trade basically. If you just found me, I trade one strategy, brother. I'm a simple man, and I'm a profitable trader, and I'm consistent. And I trade the 920 EMA Cross. You can see it on the screen. That's the only thing I trade. And you look back, I got 20+ videos. I just started posting, and I post because my buddy told me that I need to be sharing this with other people. So I said, well, I'm not a huge YouTube guy, but if I can add value to the world and help other people, then that's great. So what strategy do you what do you trade, brother? So quick review this morning, Rally, if you listen to me. It's 7:40. You see here on the left. So let me just take this off here so we can go make it a cleaner look here. So I mark out levels, and I'm sure if you don't as a trader, you really need to mark out your levels. So I left up here the previous high from last Friday was 71.88, and this morning at 7:40 or whatever it was, we popped through at all-time highs by 2 points. We went to 7 by 1.5 points, 71.90. And based on that level and based on some weakness, on the 1 minute cross, I went short at 71.78. And I took 50 or 20 points. I was in that trade for about an hour. I'll give you a quick review of where. So 71. So I came in at this cross right here on the 1 minute. So when the 9 crossed the 20, I got in short and I stayed in 71.78. And I got out at about an hour later down here at 71.58, somewhere in that range here. There's a couple. I left a couple points on the deck, but I don't have any problem with that. So, oh man, the buy the dips and sell the rips. Oh, brother, I'm gonna tell you, I'm an old guy. I've been trading for about 17 years, and when I'm gonna tell you this, and I know a lot of people say this garbage, I literally have tried every strategy out there. And I'm not saying that other strategies don't work, because I think if you have an edge, it can work. The strategy needs to fit your personality, and it needs to fit your life. And you've heard the trend is your friend. I found this trending strategy for me. I'm a scalper. I like to be in and out the same day. Intraday trader, whatever you want to call it. I could be in a trade this morning. My first one, I was in 1 hour and 10 minutes. I can be in 3 hours. I can be in 3 minutes, depending on the volatility in the market. I have no problems. I like base hits. I like simple. This doesn't get any simpler than when on my chart, the blue line is the 9, the thick line, which goes, just call it the thick line, but it's fancy when it goes green when it's up and red when down. This is the 20. Here's the VWAP, and here's the RSI. Those are my 4 indicators that are right here. This is all you need. And indicators are lagging, but the fastest indicator on this is going to be the 9, right? So I will keep the 1 minute and so we got 1 minute on the right and the 5 minute on the left. These are the two that I'm used for entering and managing my trades. That's it. Pretty simple. I'm looking at, to answer your question, if you're new and you're not fast, you're going to get some fake outs on the 1. I'm not going to lie to you. I use the 1 a lot, but because you're going to catch bigger moves, but you're also going to get faked out and stopped out sometimes. I would suggest this is the 5 minute. If you're a new trader, you could have been in here on this 5 minute. Let's just say you're in here at 71.70. And you got a 10-point stop, so you're at 71.60. So you're way, up here. Because if it breaks this, then it's invalid, right? So it comes up, scares you, and then comes right back down in your direction, and you're in a really profitable trade on the 5 minute. There's less garbage gobbledygook, but you can have the 1 minute for confluence. I like that this thing is rejecting off VWAP here. It went to the 9. I should have actually gotten in. I was flipping my yap. I should have re-entered here at 71.61, as I said I was going to do. But this came up on the 1 and rejected, popped through the VWAP, popped through the 20, rejected. This came back up here, popped to the 20. It's already through. It's coming back down. This would have been a nice re-entry at 71.66 short. So my buy, everything on this indicator in this one simple strategy is telling you short. So short. If you email me, you can email me. If you email me here at bighappytrading@gmail, freedom@gmail.com, I'll send you my free PDF on the strategy and how it's simple. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy strategy. Now there's a lot of nuances that I can't anyway, it said they can teach you to trade in 5 minutes. There's a lot of things that I'm looking at, but the main things is this keeps retapping here. Unless this really wants to flip and rip, yeah, I don't see it. But when this is trending down and this is the one starting to flatten out and this is starting to flatten out, you need to be kind of cautious. But there is, I don't see any real good news telling me that. But here, I'm going to trade this as an example to show you why I got you here live. Here's the beautiful part about the 1 minute. Let's just say this comes up to 71.57.25. So I'm going to set, this pops back here at 71, let's just say 71.57. I hope it doesn't go without me. So we're going to set one order for 71.57 short. And you're going to hear it. If it fills, you're going to hear it on my screen. And then I'm going to set, the nice thing about this, 71.57. So if you go short at 71.57 here, I'm going to use a 1 minute. Look, you can put 4 points. So if you're wrong, right? If it breaks back above VWAP and above the 20 and you're wrong, you risk only 4 points on a trade that could go to your direction. I mean, you can't get much safer than that. So, and that's not filled me. It's not 71.53. Oh, missed me by one tick. But now that we're 17, 18 minutes in the market, you could get some kind of reversals here, which you will do. So I'm going to take the order off. I'm going to watch it. But anyway, so look at how beautiful the strategy is for if you come up, you think it's going to continue to go short. You think you're going to be, I mean, this is a downtrend by every single indicator that I have. So I trade what I see. This is where the nuances of my trading experience would tell me. So now, obviously, we're in the market. I did not go short, but I'm just showing the example. You're still not wrong, even if you got in that short. But this is using the 1 minute and the 5 minute. This is a very simple strategy. So popped up here to 71.59. Are we going to continue short by all measures of this? It should. But if it doesn't, let's go. So where are you located, Raleigh? I'm in the Midwest. Oh, okay. Oh, shoot, I didn't take it up. Okay, we're short. I'm going to get to show you an example of it if I wanted to or not. All right, so we're going to set a real tight stop loss. We're in it. I thought I took the order, but I didn't. So we're going to go to 71. If this goes against us, which like I said, I don't like the configuration of this one. should be 757. So if we get a rejection off this 9 and we go down, then that would be good. I was showing you that on it, but I didn't mean to put it into my 162.75. So perfect. So we're in it at we're in at 71.58. Okay. And we got a 4-point stop loss at 71.62.45. So my risk can't be any smaller. So if we got a 4-point stop loss and we put 12-point target, that's a 3-to-1. And this is the strategy, my brother. We came up and retested the VWAP and the 9, and it's going right in our direction. Now I'm gonna show you as an example. If you got a real small account, when you get up just a few points, you literally could move your stop to break even right now and have no risk on the table. Yeah, I'm just saying, this is, I don't think about it. I just trade the system. That's it. And I don't like this setup because I told you I think at 9:15, but it's a good example. Is you could literally move your stop to break even right now and have a no risk trade. And I've done this when I first started, brother. I would start and I'd have 2, 3, 4 break evens where I'm not taking any risk, and then I had one go in my direction, and bam, because the number one rule is capital preservation. That's it. You've got to preserve your capital. That is the number one rule in trading. If people think that profit is the goal, no, risk is your job. Your job is to manage risk. That's my job. I manage risk first. I look at how much I can lose. This is a setup. That's the way I roll. So, it's good to see that I'm able to, so I'm going to follow my own rules. I'm setting, I put a stop right now. If this thing goes against me, I have a no risk trade right now. I just move my stop. There you go. I just put a stop to break even. I cannot lose on this trade. Now, if it pops up to 71.57 and takes me out, I didn't lose any money. I try again. I'm doing this to show you I typically I don't put my stops this close, but I'm telling you, I don't know if you have a small account, but capital preservation, man, that's your job. So we're in at 71.57.75. So I think we could drop, let's just put a 10-point target, 71.47.75, just to show you as a good example. All right. So this is perfect of my system, and that I can just tell you guys that it works. So we got a no risk trade. It's coming down to get let me move my target a little bit. When you see it working in your favor, now you can move your target, right? But now we got a no risk trade, rally. My bias has been short. I trade what I see based on my system. We had a retrace. We got in, and it's working. All right, so we moved our target down just a little bit more. And And I'll leave the 1 minute and the 5 minute up. Where I got my target here. I'm about base hits, brother. And I'm telling you that since when I did that, 40, 71, 42, 25. So we now got a target set at 71.42. It's about 15 points or something. Yeah, it's like it's the system. So it's really, I don't think about it. And this is where I'm just a rules-based guy. If I don't get this entry, I on a retrace to the 9 and the VWAP, I get back in and I go short again until it tells me otherwise. And when you have confluence on the 5 and the 1, then your likelihood to now what I will also do is to take my own advice on base hits. I don't let things retrace me. If I get down, I'll set my stop back at 10 points. And if it comes down and back up and I just get 10 points, and even if it goes without me after, I don't care. I take base hits. I'm a base hit guy. And will I catch home runs once in a while? Absolutely will catch home runs. So I don't know. Are you trading micros? I'm assuming. Oh, yeah, mini. Okay, yeah, mini. So 10 points is $500 on a mini, right? Oh, gosh darn it. I was moving it down okay. Anyway, I took 6 points off the table, which is, I didn't mean to on this. That's okay. Anyway, I was doing this to show you as an example, just on a small one. So, all right, so we took 5 points off the table. It looks what I don't like, and I was going to move this down anyway, but it filled my order, and we made money. This is the nuance of the market for me. When I'm in profit for the day, I call them MC hammer candles. When you get a strong wick, bottom wick on the 5 minute, I don't like that. Now, it absolutely can come back, and I didn't want to set it that tight. Do I have a problem taking 5 points? I don't, but it's not what I meant to do there. I'm with you, and I have 2 brokers, and I was in on Ninja Trader. That's okay. That's going to go back in my favor. But anyway, I'm glad I was able to show you that. So that's how I trade my strategy. And I don't know, what broker do you use? So, so you're a trader bait. Yeah, I have not traded any. So you're prop firm trading, right? Oh, it's good. I got out because I didn't like this candle here. Let me look at this. Yeah, I took exactly 5 points off of that, which is going back against me, which is fine. I don't care. All right, yeah, I have. I've not traded prop firms. I only trade cash accounts. So I've got two brokers, and I've only been trading. I'm old school, I guess. But man, darn it, I should have stayed in this thing. In hindsight, I was trying to move it. I didn't want to get out, but it got me out. Anyway, this is a great strategy for prop firm traders because you just want to hit base hits, right? You know, limit your drawdowns and just hit base hits. This is, to me, this is a great strategy. So this is where I'll use the 1 minute. If you get the 1 minute wanting to cross back up, curvature matters on the 9 and the 20. When this 9 starts to flatten out and then the 20 starts to flatten out, if we break back above VWAP, then I can tell you that you could have a early morning reversal going on here. We're 30 minutes into the session. I still think there's buyers out there that want to buy this garbage, given this current environment. So I don't know, man. I've just bought three Apex $25,000. I think they were like $30 each or something like that. Or two. I only bought two. I bought two. I have never traded prop. It seems like there's so many rules that they're built for you to fail, and I know that. You know that. Everyone knows that. But I know there's guys out there that follow rules and just making a bajillion dollars with these things. So I've got to get my head out of my backside and try it. The Yeah, if you're at strategy hopping, say, I'm just looking at your comments above here. Yeah, that's I'm laughing with you. That's part of the process, man. Like I said, I've been trading for I'm going to say I've been trading for 15, 16 years. I've been trading profitably for 5 years. And what got me profitable was finding one strategy and one vehicle, and that's all I trade. I will once in a blue moon trade oil because it runs adverse. So like we're going down, so oil should be going up, right? It went up here, now it's going back and forth because both markets are going back down. So I would trade oil in a volatile market, but I typically don't. I trade the ES. That's it. So looking at this, is my bias being short? We're still by all the 5 minute and even this VWAP really helps as a confluence and the rejection here. But yeah, if you've been trading for a year, you don't have to take 1,000. What I think is defeating to new traders is they'll go, oh, it took me 10 years to become profitable. Yeah, it did for me, and it did for a lot of others. And you do got to make a lot of mistakes yourself, but you don't have to. If you're smart and you're smarter than me, which a lot of people are, you don't need to make all the mistakes, and you can become a profitable trader faster. There's a kid that his dad taught him to trade, and he has this gap thing, and he trades a bunch of stocks. But he was profitable in 3 months because he had a good teacher, his dad. So you don't need to take a million years. Fine, but my one thing I would tell you, I trade only the ES. I use only one strategy. I use the 920 EMA Cross. So I can sit here and talk to you and still make trades because my rules are so set in concrete that when this happens, I do that. When this happens, I do that. I don't think about it. I set the stop, and that's what happens. Now the confluences and the
Voice
small.
news disconnected.
I want my voice news back connected. Mid launch. All right, you got this guy reconnected. So anyway, so going back to going back to, you don't have to take eternity to learn this. You don't. But you got to pick one thing, whether it's my strategy or another
The
strategy.
Department of Justice is expected to drop its criminal investigation into Powell as soon as Friday, ending a standoff that threatened to delay the confirmation of Powell's successor at the central bank. Again, according to sources telling a reporter.
That could be a good news catalyst. So they're going to drop the everything against Powell so we can get him out and get Warsh in. That could be good news for the market. The market will take that as pause because we get Warsh in there. But going back to your strategy and strategy hopping, dude, just pick something. I've done Orb. I've done ICT concepts. Retrace. I've done breakouts. I have done every. When I say I've tried every single strategy that there is, I believe that I've tried every strategy. And um, when I found this, I just, I'm like, well, this makes sense. So what I did, and I suggest you do the same, get on your trading view up here, go to replay, go back a year from now, go back 3 months from now, pick random times. And I back tested literally probably 500 trades before I said, wow, I think I'm on to something that is predictable and repeatable and gives me an edge, because it's all about an
Saudi
edge.
Arabia reporting that U.S. ambassador to the UN says the Iranian regime is becoming increasingly desperate and it's facing shortages in storage capacity. It may soon be forced to shut down oil wells.
Yeah, yeah, we've got the Iranians are on the short end of this thing, but they got to come make a deal. I think there could be some good news catalysts for to drive this thing up. Trump, he propped up last week. But going back, so what I would tell you, sit down, write it by hand, put it in a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, is just back test my strategy or any strategy. Back test it like a scientist, not like a lawyer. A lawyer wants to defend a strategy. I was doing this as forensics. I want to see, does it work? I'm looking at it. I'm trying to punch holes in it where it's crap. So I started just with the 5 minute, which I suggest you do the same. And then, because look at, if you traded the 5 minute and you got in here at 71.69, you're at 71.53, you're still up, you're up 15, 16 points with nothing showing you get out of this trade. You can move, your stop would have been the break even and you would have a no risk trade, right? You could have taken 10 points if you had multi contracts and you still be in this trade based on the 5 minute. Now look at all the noise here on the one. Now, if you got in here on the one, you probably could still be in, but this is going to scare you coming back up. But so I'll use both. But this, here's the nuances of my experience. When I start to see the 9 on the 5 minute start to flatten out, and I start to see all of these converge, the 20, the VWAP, and this, it tells me that it wants to start making a move back up. Now the one's crossing with a big candle. I should have been long there if I was going to be aggressive. I'm not married to this yet. I am not a believer. I think news could come out at any second. So, and I've got 25 points in the bank today. So I'm guaranteed a winning day. So far, I'm not guaranteed anything. If I don't blow it, I'm guaranteed a winning day. But backtest that sucker, man. And you can do that on the weekend. Go and sit down. And I just got down with a cup of coffees and I literally for hours backtested for days in a row 2 or 3 different strategies, and this is the one I said, "Wow, I'm going to polish this turd and make it mine." And I have, and I think there's a few things that I do differently than other people. There's other people that trade. This is not new. The 920 EMA. If you search 920 EMA strategy, you can find a lot of videos, and I recommend you do that too. But what I can tell you is on what I do is I do a look back as well. On the 5 minute, I look and say, did the previous 2 crosses work? So when you're getting kind of washy here, did that work? No, this one kind of worked. This one worked. I like this one definitely worked. It's a nice one. Worked. This one definitely worked. If the previous two crosses worked, if you're this is not a good strategy for a sideways market. I mean, no strategy works on all markets, man. And if they tell you there is one, then they're lying. This is a strategy for a trendy market. Now, the beautiful thing as a short-term trader, I can have a 5-minute trendy market. I can have a 1-minute trendy market. I can have a 15 to 30, 1 hour. So I can usually find a trend within the lower time frames, which you're just going to be scalping. You get into
Treasury 2-year yields extend the day's decline back to 3.8%.
15, 30, 1 hour. Anyway, trending. So like in this market here, I've taken 25 points out of the market. Yeah, not bad. Oh, San Diego is, I've traveled the planet. San Diego is the most beautiful city weather-wise. It's a shame what I see they're doing downtown. I was there. I used to live in California up until 2018, and I lived in Orange County, right by Angel Stadium. It's a shame what they're doing, letting happen down to the city. I was down there a few years ago. Dirty, homeless, that kind of, I don't know what they're doing out there, but that's not good. But I went to Point Loma Nazarene College for 2 years in San Diego. Gorgeous. Yeah, OC is nice too. I was in Old Town Orange, which was really nice. Yeah, it's a shame what they're letting happen down there to downtown San Diego. But I surfed off of Point Loma right off that break. I'm a goofy footer, so it was a perfect left break for me, which I liked. Yeah, we lived in. Oh, wow, look at this thing ripping. We should have gotten in here. 71.53.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent posting on X about dollar swap lines. Says these are part of an ongoing conversation that the Treasury has been having with their partners over a number of years.
So via the strategy, when it's real aggressive, if you're going to go in the 1-minute cross, you asked me that earlier. I do it, especially when I have money in the bank with very small risk.
Says that extending permanent swap lines can be a major first step in creating new U.S. dollar funding centers in the Gulf and Asia.
If you're new,
says additional swap lines could prevent disorderly sale of U.S. assets in stress.
This guy's probably irritating you. Maybe you don't know what this is.
Long-term initiatives are needed to maintain dollar reserve status.
I used to have I don't watch other YouTubers while I trade because no one trades the exact system that I trade. And their bias would bias me, and I would be slow to make a trade based on I think this is happening, I think this is happening. And I was actually in a group with a huge trader. He's really good, but he trades more reversals and that kind of stuff. And when he was right, he was right. When he was wrong, ouch. So I don't listen to anyone else because it really biases me. This is called financial juice. And if you're going to be a serious trader, I'm going to tell you that you must have this or a service like this. I've tried other 2 squawk boxes. This guy talking that you hear talking, he's a live person sitting at a desk. Any news that comes across, he'll tell you real time. He only tells you news that he thinks will affect the market. And then you'll see real-time information coming up. And if something's really important, it'll be in red. Here's the really, really good part. If Trump says something on Truth Social, this guy will immediately tell you what it was and if it's going to attack the market. Anyway, this is, to me, I just started this like a month ago, and I tried 2 other ones. This is the best thing I've ever used. I don't know. It's my friend. I sit there and listen to this guy and while I'm trading and do other things. But yeah, the financial juice is
Spot gold rising nearly 1%.
Legit. Well, I told you the one gives you lots of noise. So if you got in here on this 7154, it's coming right back to you. The 5 is going to be, you want to see once this gets above VWAP and gives you a good cross and you get one closing candle, this is probably a safer place to enter. Yeah, if you don't pay for financial juice, you won't get the real-time data. I think it was $60 for 3 months, so $20 a month. But I can tell you, it saved me thousands in risk by having real-time information. So that thing pays for itself like 100 times over. And I don't get they have a free version, but it's delayed, and that doesn't do you any good. So Tradeovate is prop firm, right? And then you set up and you just trade actually on Tradeovate, because I don't know how that works. I would like to know. I've got to set up.
Fed swaps price more easing by the year end after the report on the Department of Justice.
Let me see.
Again, this was the DOJ expected to drop the criminal probe into Fed Chair Powell as soon as Friday, according to ABC. Again, we're now just seeing Fed swaps pricing in more easing by the year end after this report.
This is where you need to be careful on the strategy. Based on the 5-minute, you come up here punching, you want to continue short, then you would want to be short at 7160 because you're rejecting off the 20 and the VWAP.
Now, this time from a New York Post reporter on X, who is present in Pakistan at the moment, says that the talks between Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi and Pakistanis will be bilateral talks with no US appearance expected this time. Iranian officials will only be in Islamabad for a few hours.
I use Ninja Trader and I use TradeStation. TradeStation is cumbersome but very, very detailed on the charting. But TradingView I use for all of my charting, and that's what you guys see. Set my whatever trades I'm in, I set up on there. And I like to have, I trade on both brokers at the same time, but you can hear my Ninja Trader execution. So you can, when I say I'm in a trade, you can hear it fill, you can hear it sell, you can hear it buy. I think having some legitimacy for people to see that. Yeah, this thing wants to go back up. And for the love of me, I have no idea why. But trade what we see, not what I think. This is where the nuances of my strategy, of this strategy, comes into play. you see we're breaking above VWAP on the 5. If you got in on the 1 here and you stayed in at 71.54, you're up 5-6 points. And we continue to get this progress up.
Agreements with China, as they're probing the US's ability to monitor science and tech agreements.
So did you just search live trading and I popped up, or did it just say, hey, there's a... Or did it just recommend me or something? I don't know how that works on YouTube. Yeah, this is messy right now. Patience is the other thing I would tell you as a young trader, young Jedi. I would tell you that patience, forcing a trade is, because once you click the button, you're in, right? So would this be bouncing off this 20 on the 1 minute? Would this be, I don't like the curvature on the 1. I don't like, we're kind of failing here. Would that be an easy flyer if I got in at 71.58 and put a stop at 71.53, 5-point risk? Yeah, very low risk. So if you're up and you want to take a flyer on that one, it's good. Is this an A+ setup? It's not. What I do like about it is we're kind of bouncing off the VWAP. We're still above. So, I mean, this could be, what did I say? We're at 71.58. We're really struggling for this 9 to get back across here. It looks like this one's too, on the 5 minute, if you look at the touch points here, and I don't use trend lines very often, but
US Treasury yields extend their fall as well after the Department of Justice to close the probe on Fed's Powell.
that's positive news for the market. Yeah, this curvature on this 1 I'm not thrilled with, and it looks like it's trying to reject up here. So this is a no trade for me. I'm getting conflicting stuff on the 1 and the 5. So when in doubt, sit it out. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I hope I can be of help to you. If you send me an email, I'll send you the PDF if you want. If you haven't done so, send that to me. And I'll send you.
Treasury 10-year yield last down 1.5 basis points at 4.309%.
And there's the big happy trading freedom at gmail.com. Send me an email and I'll send that over to you so you can take a look at it. This consolidation here, I'm not a big flag pattern, guys, but yeah, I stream every morning. Usually I start around 9 a.m. Today I got on early. I wasn't on yet Wednesday and Thursday for the first time in a while because I had some real estate transactions that I had to be physically on site handling, so I wasn't able to be live, but I did trade. I just didn't. Yeah, this is we're basing here. I think we're basing. I don't want to speculate. Basing on this, basing to dump, not basing to rip. And again, I could be wrong. But the 5 minute tells the bigger story. You should be short. You should have been short. This is rejecting. You got a big, strong wick down here. You had a engulfing candle here, but then you had the next one was a really push down. So this was always a short on the 5 minute. And that's why I told you. You asked me about the 1 minute earlier. This 1 minute, I don't recommend for newbies. Stay with the 5 minute. So in my olden days, I would have gotten in on this cross and stayed there and left a 10-point stop. Capital preservation, my brother. All right, go. Oh yeah, you're 3 hours behind. All right, get out of here. Have a good day, man. You too. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
So according to a marine traffic tracker on X, the transit activity in the Strait of Hormuz remains constrained, with 8 crossings recorded on the 23rd of April, a flat day on the day, and far below typical volumes, again, according to marine traffic data.
Yeah, this was a short. That's okay. This was a short based on this basing and flagging. I knew thing was going to go based on the 5 minute rejecting, popping through the 20, rejecting off the VWAP. This is short all day long. So we're an hour in the market. What are we going to do here? I'm not sure. I'm up. So just a quick. I was showing a guy here. So we did TP2. I hit 5 points. I'm plus 5. Plus 5 points. On the day, we are plus 25 points. So it's kind of ranging now, but so far so good. I think we're going to be kind of slow today unless we get some financial juice numbers.
So the White House issues a statement on WASH, remaining confident that the Senate will swiftly confirm WASH.
All right, kind of sitting here watching paint dry, but that's all right. Part of the patience is going to be the key. What I'm waiting for here, I've got 25 points on the bank this morning. I've got, I guess I could document this and show this here. Let's look at this week. I've taken 15 trades and I have 14 winners, that's my biggest percentage I've ever had. I traded a lot less this week because I was yesterday and Wednesday and Thursday I was not at the desk. So you'll hear everyone say less is more, and boy is it true. So let's get rid of this. So on the week so far, and I'm not done yet. 15 trades, 14 winners. Yeah, only had one loser, which is not my strategy. With this strategy over since 2021, and I keep really good records of this. My win rate is just under, it's around 64 something. Let's just call it 60, 63, 64% is my win rate. But the biggest thing, the reason I'm a profitable trader is because my losses are much smaller than my wins. I don't ever take more than a 10-point loss. And I typically, I frequently will take 15, 20-point wins. So this, I should have been long. 71.60. I'm not buying this, man. It's just, this is my problem. So my 2 wins today have been short, even though you're getting some strong this 1 minute. I missed this entry here, but on this cross I should have been in once this candle broke here at 71.62.
Nvidia extends gains to session highs of 3.7%.
But I'm okay. So everything I trade what I see, not what I think. I think we should be going short, but everything what I see. Look at this 1 minute on this cross here. It'd have been tough to get in on that big candle, but on this retrace here at 71.60, we should have gotten in. And that kind of corresponds with here, this break of this candle. With this candle closing above the 20, I actually should have set an order at 71.61.50. So as soon as this candle broke that, I would be in. That's typically how I trade that. I wasn't paying attention because I'm doing I'm looking for appliances and stuff for a property. So I'm actually not completely focused here, which I need to be focused. Friday, the volumes, let me look at the volumes. On my broker account, I have the volume. Volumes are very low right now. So easy to manipulate. I had a young cat on earlier talking about he's strategy hopping. I'm like, dude, that's part of the process. Until you find your huckleberry and what you want to do, then that's, strategy hopping is it's part of tuition. My bias is still short. I just don't see anything. And I've never had financial juice be this quiet. Literally on the open, he's always telling me like, oh, it's going up spot this much, this much, this much. I had no words from the squawk box on the open because it was pretty uneventful. And when we run to all-time highs, we don't typically see huge swings. But when the volume goes down, there can be shenanigans because it's easier to manipulate. I'm not married to anything right now. I'm trading what I see. Even if I got in on this candle at 71.62-ish, we're up 4 points. can they rip this
The
thing down because of the low
Secretary of State
volume?
says the memorandum of understanding on critical minerals with the EU marks an important step forward.
So you know it's a slow day when they're talking about minerals in the UK. But this is part of, I'm a professional trader, and this is what, it's the lonely part of the job.
In 10 minutes time now, at the top of the hour, we get the Canadian budget balance. The prior was minus 5.07 billion.
I don't think the Canadian budget balance is going to move the market too much. Yeah, everything is saying long here. And we absolutely could go right back up to another 20 points and hit the high again. I mean, this is... Let's see what they're saying here. U.S. stocks rise in Iran hopes and earnings boost. Yeah, the earnings have been fantastic. I know that's another S&P and NASDAQ rise based on fresh hopes of U.S. Iran talks and Intel boost. So profits for all these companies have just been just epic from what I hear. I don't, what were Tesla? Because I don't follow individual stocks. What was Tesla's earnings? Oops, let me go forward here. What did I do here? I'll work on, I got multiple screens here. So Tesla earnings, they beat expectations. So the stock fell after earnings. The market didn't love the details. Vehicle sales, deliveries underwhelming, inventory, blah, blah, blah. More cars than sold. Okay, so you got no, yeah, so I don't trade individual stocks. So if you're watching paint dry and you're in at 71.62, you're up 5 points. I think I always like to not say I think, but you got some on the 1 minute here. This starts to flatten out. I still think I think we're going to come down. We're literally 22 points off the all-time high given this environment. I sound like a broken record to myself. It's unimaginable that we are 22 points off the all-time high. Is still trying to wrap my freaking head around this thing is not making any sense to me whatsoever. This curvature here, I think it wants to roll over. We get some weakness down here. I need to make an MC Hammer candle to be able to put on my screen.
In 5 minutes time now, at the top of the hour, we get the Canadian budget balance. Prior read was minus 5.07 billion.
Yeah, I call these, you got these hammer candles. On the 1 minute, they don't have as much weight, though they do matter. The 5 minute has a little more gumption to it. You got this doji here, so I don't know the market. This is not really a perfect hammer candle. There's just that people just want to buy. I guess.
One minute remaining for the Canadian budget balance.
Oops. Do this. Uh-oh, what'd I do here? Let's end the stream here, guys. I'm gonna log off. It's going real slow. I got other things to do. Let's go.